Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fancast. I'm your host, havokpus, and as always, I'm joined by frozencreek. And frozencreek, we're approaching our 150th episode, aren't we?
Yeah, we are getting pretty close, and not in honor of that, but in honor of us playing 100 Thieves this week, we are providing a special half of an episode recorded with the 100 Thieves podcast, the 100 Talk. They are a fan cast like us, so we are going to do a combined half show that you will hear after we get everything else out of the way.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's gonna be pretty fun, but be sure to stay tuned for that. But right now, we just have a short episode. There's not a whole lot that happened over the course of the week, but we thought we would dispense with some results and whatnot. So let's get into it. First and foremost, CSGO, with some matches they played over the weekend, they have qualified for the Rio North American Minor. So great job for them.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch it.
That's okay. They played well. Some of the matches were close, but honestly, it's just great to have our teams, qualifying for more events. That's really important, especially for CS:GO. This is a new team and everything, and so I think it's just great that they qualified for another event. They get another chance to play it on LAN, and just improve and get some more playtime in.
Yeah, it's a big deal to keep getting them stage time together. So, yeah, you're right. It is good. Do you have any clue when that is? And something tells me that it might not be a LAN for much longer.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it is, but with all of the recent coronavirus stuff going on, it may not be something that fans will probably be able to watch. If at all, they may just cancel it. We never know. But we'll definitely try to dig up some research on that.
Or yeah, the good news, if coronavirus hits, is that since we record all of this remotely, we can still record the podcast. The bad news is that there might not be many events to cover because all of them get canceled because of coronavirus.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bad news is we still have to record this podcast.
Yeah, and just like talk Dead Space, like so the TFT team is doing well, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm actually excited for TFT that you mentioned it. Tomorrow they're doing a showcase of the new TFT patch, the whole Galaxies thing, and it seems pretty dope. So I'm actually gonna try to watch that, and I'm pretty excited for that.
Oh yeah, I'm all in on a Rumble in this set, so I might have to pick it back up again after dropping it in set 2.
Oh yeah, I'm like gold 4, so
oh nice.
I'm really excited. It's actually the highest I've ever been ranked in a game. So
nice.
I'm really holding on to that one.
I was plat in set 1, but then set 2 came out and I stopped playing it. So I'm probably not plat anymore. I'm probably silver. So maybe I will have to catch back up.
Oh yeah, you probably will. But moving on, I guess, to our next thing of news. Dota 2 played in the Dota 2 Summit 12. If you're familiar with like the CSGO summits, it's very similar. You get a bunch of teams at a house and they kind of play each other in a tournament. They lost every single game, Frozen. They lost every single game 0-2.
Not good, Chief.
They look awful, and I cannot sugarcoat it in any way, shape, or form. It does not matter how big of a gold lead they have. They will throw it away and they will lose. You have some of these people like Pylai Die and Eternal Envy who've been playing for a while and they've been on various teams. I can see why now they went to C9 because it's probably the only team that would literally take them at this point. And the other players don't look that much better. Like Ace, who I think has been a C9 member before, he hasn't looked that great. Sneaking, he looks just awful. And I don't even know what Misery does, because I don't really see him that much doing things because everyone else is dying. And it's awful. I can fully expect us to not have a Dota team by the end of the year, just based on watching this and seeing everyone just fail to play as not only a team but as individuals. And I don't even know that much about Dota.
To be fair, even if we were good, I think that we'd end up dropping the Dota team by the end of the year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty much
Unfortunately.
C9's MO.
Yeah, so just heightened by the fact that they're not good. It's probably going to happen at some point. I really
Yeah,
wish we would
either
stick in it for the long haul though, because I know Team Liquid had a really good Dota team. What, 2 years ago?
yeah, 2 years ago, and I think they're not as good anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah, I think either C9 like completely like revamps the roster, or they're keeping them around because I think maybe there's some sort of Dota franchise league that's maybe coming. Um, unless those two things happen, this team is going to probably get dropped pretty quickly because I don't think you want to have a team that just gets aced by like. And I'm not sure how strong teams like Fnatic, Team Liquid, and Evil Geniuses are, but they also got like O2'd by like Thunder Predators and OG Seed, which I've never heard of. In terms of like organizationally, those are probably like smaller orgs, but that's really bad, and I'm pretty sure that this team isn't going to last very long.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to see a franchise Dota 2 league, but it doesn't seem to get the watch or the viewership like a league does outside of the international. When I feel
Yeah,
like that's the only time it's somewhat of a big deal.
yeah. I remember looking yesterday trying to like find the stream that they were playing on, and Dota 2 was like really down there in terms of viewership numbers. I think it was up more today, and that may have been like more popular teams were playing that day, but I think in terms of like viewership, League of Legends probably has more like overall viewership versus Dota, where like it has one, maybe two events that really get a lot of viewership, and then otherwise it's just not as popular. Plus, I think that the game is a lot more complex than League. If you're doing like an apples to apples thing, League is just a lot more simpler, and you can describe like I can more easily describe and explain to my father what League of Legends is and how you would play League of Legends than I could probably describe Dota, because Dota has a lot more intricacies and menus and stuff that just make it really hard to kind of grasp.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot easier to watch a League of Legends just based off like the graphics, and it feels a lot simpler to take in than
Oh, for sure.
Dota does.
Like looking
Just
at the overlays
based on
that League use, I 100% know like, okay, I know like how many towers were taken. I know like neutral objectives that are up or when they're up. I know like gold for each team, and I know like their stats and their inventories and everything. And watching Dota, it wasn't as intuitive, and it just felt it didn't feel as good.
yeah, and I feel like the viewership experience is better for League just with the casters and stuff. I think that they do a really good job of kind of explaining the game in the not really the highest form, but also for like an average viewer, and sometimes a dumbed down form that I feel doesn't happen quite as much in other esports. So I think that's also part of it.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess enjoy the Dota team while it lasts. But I guess moving on, I guess to our final non-piece of league news. The Overwatch League is having some interesting developments. The London Spitfire announced today that their first homestead, which was going to be next week, I believe, was canceled due to the coronavirus issue that's going on pretty much globally. Um, I believe they were supposed to have some matches this weekend, but if you go to the Overwatch League website right now, you don't see any regular scheduled, seasons past week 5 or week 15 actually. So it looks like, and it may just be a glitch in the site, or they've maybe canceled the next, like, I don't know, like 6 weeks worth of events, because eventually, like on week like 14, you get matches again, but then like through all of that, you don't see anything. So it could be that other teams have canceled their homesteads. They're still trying to figure out what's going on. So we may not have matches this week. We may not have matches for a while due to all of the travel that really has to be involved with such a global league. So keep an eye out for news, I guess, and make sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say make sure
really
to wash your hands, but that's
unfortunate.
Kind of silly. Yeah.
Well, no, it's also true.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. Don't touch your face as I touch my face. But that's besides the point. It really is unfortunate because Overwatch League has done a lot of work to make this a global esport with teams based in locations and these homestands. And despite the fact that the game was kind of starting to go to shit, add this on top, and it's a recipe for a disaster. And a lot of those huge investments into Overwatch League might not quite pay off for teams like Cloud9 and such. So really unlucky. On top of Blizzard mismanaging their game.
Yeah, the Overwatch League, everyone was kind of looking at Season 3 to definitely be sort of the make or break season, to see if the Overwatch League is going to be one of those things that's going to be on top or not. This definitely does hurt it a lot. And the coronavirus isn't just affecting Overwatch League, it's affecting a lot of stuff. Like I saw that E3 was canceled. I know the March Madness NCAA basketball tournament that's sort of being like postponed, and
no, they're shutting down the stadiums, so it's only teams and family.
Right. I think that the final game I think was being moved because they needed to find a smaller stadium.
Oh, okay. Which
I saw
sense,
that today.
Because they don't. Yeah, which would make sense because they're scheduled to play in the football stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which would be really, really eerie if it was
weird.
Empty.
Just this huge stadium, and you just hear all these echoes of like dribbling and yelling, but no one like kind of yelling. It'd be really odd.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird to watch on TV, but I'm still pretty excited for it. The Big Ten tournament starts tonight, meaning Wednesday, because that's when we generally record. So it's that time of year because this is the time of the year that I'm really excited for every time. So next week we will discuss a little bit more our picks for the tournament because that's something I care deeply about.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely try to. I always try to watch basketball, but every year I just don't. And maybe making like a bracket may actually get me invested into it more.
Well, it should. So you said that was the last bit of news before League?
Yeah, that was the last thing. Then we move on to League with our 100 Thieves friend.
Okay, then we will be back after a very short break that is not a commercial unless somebody wants to pay us, and then next time there's a commercial here. But we will see you guys on the flip side.
Flippy flop.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome back from that short break. We are joined with us for our League of Legends segment with the 100 Thieves podcast, 100 Talk. We have Cole and Jordan.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having
us. We are very excited to meet you guys.
I guess you can't really say in person right now, but
no.
Yeah, been watching from the sidelines for a while, so it's cool to get together with you.
Yeah, this is the only sanctioned thing that we could do during the coronavirus. So
that's right. This will be the new norm. Everyone's on Discord. Yeah.
We just got off the horn with the WHO. They've approved the podcast.
For now, we'll see if they cancel us.
I wouldn't blame them. But can you tell us a little bit about yourself, both of you selves?
Sure. Cole, do you want to? I'll start us off. So me and Cole are newer to League of Legends. We are about as into League of Legends from a timeline perspective as 100 Thieves is. So I got into the game right around the time that they started announcing who was going to be on the team. So think about the Afroma video, probably being announced. Those were really my first couple of moments of thinking that, like, okay, I could watch this professional sport. I knew about the game beforehand, but never really followed the esports side. So that's what got me hooked. And I actually started playing at that point too. And then pretty quickly after that, I mentioned it to Cole, and it took a little bit longer for me to actually convince him that it was worth getting into as well. But Thieves got the hook in him just like they got it in me. So pretty much since then, we've been doing our show weekly, chatting about the games, chatting about the LCS. We've resisted the urge to get too into the other leagues, especially LEC. But yeah, we so we don't make any. We don't pretend that we're league experts who've been playing since beta, because we haven't been. And what we will say though is we've been 100 Thieves fans longer than probably anybody else, or as long as anybody else, because we've been there since day one, the very first match.
Yeah, so we're not League of Legends experts, but we call ourselves 100 Thieves fandom experts. And
that's right.
My credentials are owning more 100 Thieves apparel than I think anybody else on the planet. Probably even than the some of the people within the org themselves. So that's how I prove my seat at the table.
That's right.
That's kind of like us a little bit. But we've been doing this for a little while. Do you guys have any other like esports past like viewing or knowledge, or is this like your first kind of dip into esports in general?
I mean, I feel like this is the first structured league that I've been into. So, I mean, I know that kind of competitive league is one of the older structured leagues out there anyway. But I think that primarily if I watched anything at all, it would be tournaments, it would be one-offs, it would be kind of I watched Twitch a lot and stuff right beforehand. I remember watching like Hafu streaming Hearthstone. It just came out like 2012, right? So I've been around and like watching stuff, but I've not really followed a team or a specific esports structured competition before now. And to be honest with you, I'm not super intrigued by the other offerings out there. Like I think LCS is the best. I think their product is amazing. So I think we got pretty lucky in that what we went after first ended up being a really outstanding product, both from a team perspective and from the competition that they're in.
Yeah, and Jordan and I have known each other for a super long time, like we're childhood friends, and we played video games all our lives and everything. And I watched like speed running and stuff, but never really esports until Jordan finally convinced me to watch the first couple 100 Thieves LCS videos. And in fact, he said Hearthstone. I always thought it was Hearthstone in my own head. So that's how little I know about the scene. But
it probably goes either way. There's probably people who are mad at me.
I always say Hearthstone. So you're not alone.
Trust me, I'm the farthest from expertise out of this group of fine gentlemen.
It's the original Valorant. Or is it Valorant?
I would say Valorant, but that look, I grew up in the South, so I don't have to say words right.
There we go. That's an excuse.
Fact.
But I think every good title, right, has they split their fandom on how you pronounce the name of the game,
yeah.
Which is an interesting decision to make.
So one quick question before we dive into things. What a rank are you guys, and what's your main champion?
Yes.
Oh man, this is the embarrassing question. So I mean, right now I'm still bronze. In my head I play around like a silver 2, silver 1 level. I'm an ADC, and I play. I would say Ash. Ash is probably my primary champion, and Misfortune would be my other.
It's Ash is at least your most famous champion.
Yeah.
Cole actually, fun fact. Cole actually showed up.
Famous or famous or infamous?
Well, it depends, I guess. Infamous, maybe. Cole, the fun fact is Cole showed up in one of those league highlight montages. We have no idea how he was found for this thing. But what happened was he had shot an Ash arrow toward the Baron pit, and it hit one of the enemy team who was attacking the Baron, and the splash damage from the arrow stole the Baron.
Oh wow,
that was the day I learned that the Ash ult has splash damage.
Right. It was not planned, but it was very funny. So yeah, I think season 9.
I've seen that.
Have you?
Before.
Yeah, it's a good clip.
I think I have. Yeah.
The best part is that his reaction is completely like neutral. Like he doesn't.
Oh, is he just like, huh?
Yeah. I don't even know if he got a huh out.
That's
It's kinda
really
No, because I didn't really understand what had happened, so I
Yeah.
think my brain was rebooting for a second.
right. Well, and in your defense, Cole, I don't think anybody in our stream at the time really got it. Like,
Yeah, in fact, actually, the first thing that said after it happened is Jordan going, "What?"
yeah. Right. Yeah, that was a fun one. So I'd say I'm playing less League now than I did even season 9, which is kind of a bummer. But
Probably for the best.
yeah,
To be honest.
so I think I peaked in season 9 in silver. I hit silver, and then this season I'm actually with the ladder reset. I am a very strong iron player.
Ooh,
They
There we
hit
go.
me. They hit me hard with the reset.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah, I know.
Someone has to do it.
But I take the for fun approach to ranked. So
yeah.
So are you guys way better than us then?
I'm like bronze 3 right now.
Yeah.
I've actually been trying to play ranked. This is probably the most ranked I've played in a while. And I've definitely had a shift in mindset to where I've taken the nihilistic approach of just going, it's a game, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
I don't get upset anymore.
It doesn't. Yeah.
And so
There's
I keep telling everyone in my game to just chill, and they're just like, it's ranked, it matters, and I'm just like, no, it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah,
Like in the grand
I'm
scheme of
bronze.
things, it doesn't.
Chill out.
Yeah, it's like, dude, this is bronze. What do you
like
expect
this
me
is
to do?
bronze.
And then you look and it's the guy with 700,000 Master Arena champion, and he's still in bronze, and then it makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
he's actually grinding
That's
and
the
cannot
worst.
get out of bronze.
And they're always playing like Master Yi, and it's like, why
Yeah.
do you Master Yi?
Yeah.
There's so many more and better champions.
Yeah.
But you
There are
pick
other
him.
things to experience out there. But I started in mid, moved to support so that Cole and I could lane together for stream. I'd say the first champ I really enjoyed and got good with was Vaegr. It was a good one, which is another name
Yeah.
that people say differently every time you hear it.
Yep.
And then your Thresh is his other.
Vigar.
Yeah, that's my Thresh. I've been getting to Bard. We have a really good Bard player in
Oh,
our Discord.
I love Bard.
Very fun
one,
champ.
one of our Discord members is
Bard
a
fan.
Diamond 2 Bard player. And says
Okay.
Pretty good.
some lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
He's been teaching me a couple of things about how to play Bard better. So it's been fun.
Ultra teammates.
Yeah, right.
Get your tunnels all the way through the walls and not add a corner and just go a half of an inch, because I've done that quite a few times.
Oh, I'm with
But
you. And like
besides that,
self-lulting on
It does not matter.
Yeah.
All right. Should we move on?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about this wonderful rivalry we have decided to create for
Yeah.
It's fierce.
It's
We're-
it's very passionate.
That's right. The most storied of esports rivalries, C9 versus 100 Thieves. And we're going to go ahead and call it El BLAHsico.
Ooh.
Because who in the world cares about this rivalry outside of you? This is just an excuse for our communities to link up, hang out, and banter a little bit. And there's nothing better than that in my mind about NA League of Legends.
That's right. At least when you have a team who is so far above the competition that everybody else the best they can do is pretend that there's a rivalry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right now it's like C9's it's C9's world, and everyone else is competing for second place.
That's exactly what it's like. Or in our case, competing
For
for
now.
tied for 6th.
Yeah, like in our heads, you guys are the best of the good teams, and we're trying to be the best of the bad teams.
Yeah. Which, better than the worst of the bad teams. There are worse places to be.
True.
Hey, yeah,
True.
yeah. Spring 2019 was an entirely different story for.
It was. Yeah.
That is true. But I've always been adamant that there's only one good team. So we are the only good team competing against ourselves to be the good team. So that's
Hey,
where I'm at on that. But
you know
Are
what?
you guys
There's no
are
other
right
way
a
to approach
second.
it. No one else can contest you.
Yeah.
It's truly you guys pushing yourselves to your own limits right now, and we're just watching and
For right
hoping
now,
that
yeah.
you get to Worlds and you take some teams apart.
I'm hoping so too, but we still have to get through playoffs. If we can get through playoffs unhurt, then I'll be happy. But until we are lifting up that trophy in an empty stadium or in the LCQ videos,
Yeah.
then I cannot be happy. So that's where I'm at. I've been crushed too many times by Cloud9 in finals. So
Yeah, understandable.
hopefully this is the year, because I've been watching them since season 5 and I've never seen them lift the trophy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you would have missed the last time. I mean,
We're always the second banana.
That's right.
Hey man, there are worse bananas to be.
I'm totally fine with being
Yeah, you
silver,
could be
like, a
Dignitas.
silver medal.
Yeah, you could-
if
you could always
consistently
be-
get second place, that's still really good. Like overall, it
Yeah.
just sucks that you can't get first at least once.
Yeah. Well, speaking of who's first and who's second, all right. I wanted to ask you guys this, and we haven't actually debated this on our podcast, so I'm gonna let you guys tee off on this one. There is an MVP race going on. I don't know if you've heard about this, and most people seem to believe that really anybody from Cloud9 can take it.
Mhm.
That's fair.
Now, there has been say of unusual circumstances allowing for the selection of players who do an extra good job carrying their team. When the team weighs 1,000 pounds, they put on that backpack and roll forward. And from that perspective, our very own Someday might have an MVP case. So I'm asking you guys, who has the better MVP case between the 1,000-pound backpack wearer Someday or your very own crazy talented deep champion Ocean Niski?
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something, Jordan?
Oh no, I just got at the quality of that question. That's a good question.
I can start us off, and that's really an interesting way to put this, because I do agree that I think they're both really good candidates, because Someday, it's literally most valuable player, and Someday is the most valuable player on 100 Thieves. And I think that if he wasn't on that team, 100 Thieves would maybe be a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
We might be winless.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think Niski definitely deserves being in the conversation, just because if you look at especially how he was like last year and this year, he's a completely different player. I think his mechanics have increased a lot. And also just his decision making, like he's not killing himself like half as often, trying to go after plays, and he's always trying to help the team by roaming and creating advantages in other lanes, so that by the time the team fighting goes around, his other teammates are strong. And he's already strong in and of itself, but his Blabber or Sven are a lot stronger because he was able to visit lanes, and so it just creates a lot more advantages within the game, like later on.
Yeah, I think if I were picking between Someday and Licorice, I think I would pick Someday. But as a Cloud9 fan, I think we are the only team who would take Licorice over Someday into the top lane. Just because I think Licorice fits into our team and our ethos and culture, and I don't think Someday's a good enough of an upgrade over Licorice to warrant bringing him in and switching that up. So I think Someday is the better player. I mean, what was it? 2 years ago, he was like the best player in the world. So
basically.
Yeah.
So that's not really saying much, I don't think. I think Someday is probably the best MVP candidate outside of a Cloud9 player, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wouldn't just based off the fact that there's enough Cloud9 players to split up the vote. But honestly, I think if I were to pick an MVP from Cloud9, it would probably be Vulcan or Blabber, just because I think that Vulcan has been the glue of this entire team. Sven has been able to just sit and farm and just stand there while Vulcan pulls up his Tom Kench pants and waddles in with his tongue out. And I just feel like he's done such a good job this year. He has the highest support gold difference at 10, and I don't even really think it's that close because he's the only one on the first page. It's mostly ADCs, mids, and jungles. So I think he's really been a huge asset to our team now that he's here, and I would be really happy to see Blabber or Vulcan get it. But I think Licorice and Niski are like the sexy picks.
I mean, I personally would go with Niski on the sexy pick, but I understand the case, especially for Vulcan. If you just look at how Sven played before he had Vulcan, or you look at how Cody Sun played with Vulcan, and then contrast that with how things are going, without those things being in place, then he obviously is transformative, and that's probably why he got the $1.5 million buyout.
Yeah.
So that was money well spent, which I never would have thought when I first read the tweet.
I think it's interesting that buyout was just duped for like a support player, which was that's not a role that you're like we're going to spend all the money on this one.
Yeah, well, Core JJ came to NA that Vulcan might live.
Right.
That is an interesting. I think Vulcan as MVP is really interesting because MVP usually comes down to: do you think about that award as the best player or truly the most valuable? Do you take it literally? And Vulcan is a really interesting most valuable argument, even though he cost the most of any player ever, or at least the buyout was very clearly that much more. Because of, I think you could look at now his last two assignments, right, with Cody Sun and now with Sven, and it just feels like he increases the value of the rest of the team to such an insane degree that there's tons of value in that. And I look at the way Cody Sun's playing now and think about Stunt and how much value would we get out of a more established support player for Thieves. It's a lot. So I think that's a really interesting case I hadn't really thought about too much.
I think the only way Vulcan won't get the award is just because has a support player ever won MVP? Because it seems like
Core JJ. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Core JJ did.
Afro too, yeah.
Yeah.
How could we name Core JJ before Afro?
I would ask you that, Cole. How could you?
That is shame on us. I'm doing the finger on finger action right now to shame both of us.
Our Core won it last split, right? Summer of 2019.
I can't remember if it was summer, spring.
I think he did. The only reason I brought it up is because I remember Smoothie was in a similar situation where it was like his first or maybe second split on Cloud9. It was when he was at like his peak play, and he was like playing amazing, and he was like crushing it every single game. And I was saying like banging my fist on the table. Smoothie needs to be MVP because he looks like the best player on Cloud9. He's doing so much for the team, and then he was kind of robbed. And it's my thinking is support isn't like such a flashy role that you can like really recognize that kind of play, and it's mostly if you're doing well as a support, it's making everyone else look a lot better, and so everyone else usually gets the award.
Yeah. And I think there's also a window to it as well, because it was spring that Core JJ won that MVP, and it's probably like you have your first split on your team as a window to win that award. because you can see transformation when it happens right away. But
Right.
after that, yeah, it's like it doesn't even matter how good you are. You tend to fade in the background as a support because you're setting up other people. So yeah, it probably just goes like that. Afromu was the same way. He won his MVP in the first split for 100 Thieves.
So here's Vulcan's chance. It's this split. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. Now I did. If you guys don't mind, I did want to ask something else. So we heard Frozen
you're
weigh
fine.
in about Licorice and Someday earlier, and saying that you actually wouldn't make that change, and I'm maybe a little surprised by that. So Havoc, I wanted to get your take on that. Like,
Okay.
if you could swap Someday and Licorice around, do you think you would entertain that? Like, say not before summer 2020, but say like in the actual off season before 2021.
Right.
Which,
That's
by the way, is a possibility because
that's a really interesting question. I'm not sure. So I apprehensive because Licorice is kind of like one of the, I guess now, like faces of Cloud9 since Sneaky has stepped down. It's basically him and probably Vulcan, and maybe Niski too, but I think him and Vulcan are probably being built up to be sort of the faces of the league team now. And I think also, there's synergy involved. I think how he communicates with the team is really well. I'm not sure how Someday communicates with 100 Thieves. And that's just for me, not really looking into 100 Thieves too much. But yeah, I'm not sure. I will say that Someday is probably a bit more mechanical than Licorice. But I think in terms of how they gel with the team, I think Licorice may just gel a bit more, maybe.
Yeah. I hear that argument. And by the way, this is Jordan, before you weigh in, this is definitely ignoring import.
That's what I was going to say.
That would cause havoc within your team.
Yeah,
so I will say that. But I just
we've experienced that.
Preempted your entire point. Yeah, we've experienced the import position juggle, excuse me. And it's not pretty sometimes.
It's miserable.
We're not foisting that upon you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like it maybe end up being like Impact for Team Liquid, who for me was always a very good player, but never like his value was, I don't want to say more, but his value was just as much that he fit in so well with that team before, I should say, when they were just dominating everyone. And it was like even Someday for the most part couldn't crack him during lane phase, so it's interesting when fit outweighs pure skill. But the way that you guys are going right now, it certainly seems like that's a thing.
Yeah. I think that it's kind of, it's two different styles. I think Someday is definitely more of the mechanically focused kind of oriented player, where he really focuses on his individual play in his lane, whereas I think Licorice forgoes some of what he needs to do in lane and focuses more on the team play and team fights and sort of the all around objective of what the team wants to do. And so it's kind of just two different ways to look at the game, and it would be interesting to see what would happen if you flip that. I'm more of a team focused kind of guy, because the more coordination you have, the better it is you can pull things off. And it seems like C9's the same way now. It looks like everyone's just so much more on the same page, and everyone's able to kind of improve and do what they need to do.
I actually think it would be kind of a fun experiment to try Someday in Cloud9, because I think if you give him a team to let him kind of a run free, that he would evolve to that best top in all of the world kind of style again. Because no offense, but right now he's trying to make art with Crayola crayons and not with actual painting supplies. So if you're to give him something to work with, he might be able to up his own game also.
Yeah, I like that. It's like, yeah, if he's coming from a position of, you know what, I'm actually going to have winning lanes elsewhere on the map.
Yeah. How much
like how much? Yeah, how much would
Are you telling me that my
transform
bot and mid are actually going to be able to do stuff?
Yeah.
Oh man, the problems for us are very, very real, guys, and thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all bad. You guys are still fighting for playoffs.
Which is kind of unbelievable, right? Like one of the things that we've talked about on our podcast, actually the last episode we just did, the main theme is, are we a decent team or are we just lucky, right? Because we've had a couple wins during this split that have been just miraculous. We had Meteos with like 80 HP left, somehow stole an Elder Dragon early on in this split and let us beat Golden Guardians. And then we just had an improbable win over Dignitas where we basically just I think what happened is in team comms, we were behind the whole time, and in team comms, we were just like, you know what? This is Dignitas. They'll probably find a way to give us the game. Let's wait and see how they do that. And they did it not once, but twice. So we've been able to get super lucky a couple times this split and find ourselves tied for 4th place right now. I think the standings show us as a better team than we actually are, but we still might be able to contend for that 6th place spot for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that your guys' last 4 games are Cloud9, FlyQuest, TSM, and then the CLG, which is on a hot streak as much as it can be.
Yeah, I mean, can we take this up with Greeley or something? Like, who did this schedule, man? I'm not liking how this is going to finish.
Yeah, so that's going to be, I guess, the biggest problem going into the end. But I think the good thing is that a lot of the teams have shown that they're high variance. So that's the one thing that you guys have going for you. TSM could go 0-2 this weekend. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think if that's the story of pretty much everybody but Cloud9 and CLG, this split has been, sometimes they can be really good and sometimes they can be very bad. And which team is going to show up? That's kind of been how it's played out. So yeah, we're going to hope for that very bad category, because I'll tell you what, I personally don't have a lot of faith in the 100T victory in BLAHsico coming up against you guys this week.
Well, we can use that to transition over into actually talking about the match if you guys want.
Man, we can talk about it. There's not going to be a whole lot.
There's going to be a lot to talk about.
Not going to be a whole lot to say, but hey, we can talk about it.
Well, there's gonna the match itself is gonna be this Saturday, March 14th at 6 p.m. Eastern for anyone who wants to tune in.
Yeah,
anyone
interesting.
wants to subject themselves.
What would it take, Cole? What would we give me the headline of that we would read if we win this game? What happens?
Oh, okay, gotcha. I actually know this. The headline reads,
yeah,
coronavirus forces game to be rescheduled for March 17th. 3-day delay in effect. Yes, March 17th is St. Patrick's Day.
Perfect.
Cloud9 would drink all day long and then have to show up to play.
Right.
And Papa Smithy would say, I'm a responsible father. I'm going to keep my children sober. And they were going to show up and just be able to clickety click and press R and press Q and W sometimes too, and just win.
That's the headline.
That was the full headline.
Really long headline.
Yeah, but you know, in this digital age, you can kind
do they get paid by the letter?
Here's my headline. Cloud9 goes for Valorant themed lineup, plays all marksmen.
I was gonna say goes for the Penta support lineup.
Yeah,
you have like Penta top.
Wait, but they still have like Pike and Senna.
Oh yeah, Vulcan would
honestly,
still be
they
Pike.
can probably win.
That's true.
Pike, Senna,
Zillion mid,
Zillion,
jungle,
yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, actually, I'm not liking this. This actually
that actually sounds winnable for us. Wait,
the all marksman, I think, might be our chance, Cole.
You know, there's one more idea, and this was teased on the dive, is that you guys could play the comp of champions who have never won an LCS match.
Actually, I'm all about that.
Oh, that would actually be really fun.
I'm here for it. I think it was Garen, Brand,
Timo?
Shaco.
Shaco,
Has
and
Timo
what was
won?
the
Timo's
fourth?
won.
I think
I forget what the fourth one
And
was,
then
but there were 4 champions that had not an LCS.
Gieran's
match
never
before,
been played in LCS.
and he's never even been played. Yes.
Yeah, so Garen, Shaco, Brand. Oh, who were the other ones? That's gonna bother me now. But
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come to us. But I will say this: like seriously, I think the only legitimate chance that 100 Thieves would have to, and I mean, I'm not talking like to win this game. I mean, the only chance for them to have a chance to win the game is that you guys say, hey, we've locked in the first seed. We got to experiment with some pocket picks and just see if we can find something that other teams will have to consider when they prepare for draft against us in the playoffs. And that happens to not work out. That's the only way.
I was gonna mention, C9 has already locked in first place, which seems like a really early kind of lock-in, considering the rest of the standings. But it's sort of a great thing for us because it's like, well, we don't have to worry about losing anymore because we already have first seed. And we can experiment and do a lot of crazy stuff to see what works and maybe find out more about our weaknesses. And that may work out for 100 Thieves. I think realistically, though, it would probably be Meteos just since Licorice has been probably playing weak side a lot more since our bot lane and our mid lane has gotten a lot stronger. And it's always been kind of strong with Niski. But our bot lane has improved a lot. So Blabber's been visiting bottom lane a lot more. And so Licorice has been the one having to play weak side, and I could probably see Meteos trying to gank middle or gank top a lot more to kind of try to get Sunday ahead, and then just hope that he carries.
Yeah. Here's my win conditions. Even though I think they're incredibly long shots, I think you do your best to counter pick for Sunday. Although Licorice is so strong that I don't think it'll matter too much. But we've seen Someday on counter picks, and it can be game ending. So there's that. Like that's basically you're just going for the Hail Mary. What's the Hail Mary you can make? It's not counter picking for stunt, right? You're gonna try for counter pick for stunt.
It actually may be don't let stunt play.
Oh, that's game time call.
Keith support's open, I guess. He lost his job, so you can get Keith.
That's true. He could probably we could see if he's busy on Saturday. And maybe I don't know. And so I think that's probably like the only win condition you get, honestly. I will be interested to see how Ryoma does. He's almost gotten solo kills on some of the bigger names. Like he had it was obviously very close with Crown, who's no longer in the LCS. He had some good trades with some people that ended up obviously not going his way, like as the game went on. But that could be an interesting one to watch too. And at the very least, I'm hoping that he puts in a good showing, even if the team doesn't deliver overall.
Do you guys differ from us in any sort of material way with the predictions?
Kind of. I think I'm not sure if giving Someday some strong counter pick is really gonna make a really big difference because I'm not exactly sure if picking Illusion into Gangplank is gonna win you guys the game. I think what you really need is to get a decent pick in mid and ADC to allow or give Ryoma and Cody Sunder the chance to put on their big boy pants and play a good game. So I think if 100 Thieves is going to win this, it's not going to be because of Sunday. I think it's going to be because Sunday puts the rest of his team in a spot to carry him through victory because I don't think he can win the game through top lane. And I think it's going to be a more round Ryoma putting on his big boy pants. Yeah, so kind of, what you guys said. So,
and my concern,
the chances of Ryoma being material against Niski, who, as I alluded to earlier, I mean, I've got him if I was voting for MVP, I would choose Niski right now. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and I think bot diff is just too strong. Like, I think if you're Cody Sun, you can't play hard enough to overcome that gap. It's just too tall a task. So
Yeah, I will say Sven and Vulcan both individually as well as the duo have been winning lane pretty hard throughout the whole split.
yeah.
Sheesh. Understatement.
Whew. It's a long shot. It's a long shot.
It's a long shot.
Yeah. As every game against C9 has been. So at least we're no different in that sense.
Yeah. So I think BLAHsico is really going to live up to its name this weekend. And you know what? We're just going to be along for the ride. We're just about good vibes right now. Let's get the vibes right.
Oh yeah, can I have those good vibes in the chat?
Yeah. This is our only shot at a world's caliber game this split, or this, I don't want to say this year because I don't know what summer's going to look like, but
yeah, that's true.
We're not going to get an international competition here, so we'll see what we can do against Cloud9. Hopefully, it's not embarrass ourselves.
Sometimes that's all you can hope for.
Exactly. Yeah, set your expectations appropriately.
Exactly. That way you can just walk over that bar. Don't need to have to try to jump over it.
Yep. If you want to see how we do it, tune in next week.
Yeah. And hey, at the end of the day, we can say this, and you can say this too. At least we're not Dignitas.
Preach it.
Poor Dig.
Oh, what? They're ninth? I just looked at the standings. What happened?
You know
How did
what?
they do this?
Happened.
Fate happened. Karma happened.
Exactly.
They were like at one point like in the running for second.
Yeah.
What did
And
they
you know
do?
what? Zach and George over at League Leaders are such good guys too. You hate to see it.
Yeah. I think they're starting to get a little bit like, their mental is fraying.
Oh yeah,
it takes something out of you. Me and Cole have experienced that too.
And they support the Outlaw too, which the Spitfire beat at the very least.
Oh, so your guys' bad
Outlaw's
blood
sitting in
crosses
11th.
multiple ways. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're sitting in 11th in Overwatch League, but nobody cares about that. There, I said it.
Man, City of Houston, get it together.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything else?
I would ask you guys if you can go ahead and shout out your socials for our people to be able to locate you. Because I do want to say this, like, for a while, Jordan and I thought that 100 Talk and League Leaders kind of materialized at about the same time, and we were the only fan podcasts around that were focusing on LCS teams. And then later we found you guys and realized you've been doing it for much longer than we have. So
yeah, we're old farts.
That's right. That's right. We want to pay our respects to you and give it up for the goats. So we really want to encourage communities crossing over, because fan podcasts in this space have a lot of potential and they can be a lot of fun. So
yes,
our listeners, if you don't listen to anything else I ever say, which is probably true, listen to me when I say go follow these guys on social media and listen to the pod, and I'll let them shout out where that you can do so.
Yeah, so the main thing that we use is Twitter. It's at C9 Bodied. I'm not going to shout out my personal because my last name is a mess and I don't really tweet much about LCS, so it's not really worth a follow unless you're into Michigan politics. And actually, I think that's about half of my tweets because of my line of work. So you can find us at C9 Bodied on Twitter. How about you guys?
Main account is at 100 Talk Pod. So we're most active on Twitter for sure. Twitter is just a wonderful thing for people of our ripe old age.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jordan,
that's the numbers 100. Talk
yeah,
pod.
100 Talk Pod, and we're on Twitch at that as well. And Jordan, where can we find you on personal?
At Jordan, I think it's an underscore. I don't list my
yeah, I believe it's underscore too.
Underscore Wicker, WHICKER. That's on Twitter. I don't tweet too much. Cole does most of the heavy lifting on the tweets. So
I tweet a whole lot, and it's a bunch of nonsense, but it's fun nonsense. Then you can find our podcast on pretty much any podcast platform. So if you like Spotify, Google, Apple,
also same.
TuneIn, Stitcher, whatever. So yeah, you guys are C9 Bodied on all of this, and we're 100 Talk Pod on all of those. So please support our beautiful fan communities. as we attempt to rally the troops around BLAHsico.
Yep, and that is happening this weekend. I already forgot the time.
It was 6 p.m. Eastern.
Saturday, 6 p.m. Saturday
And-
at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's prime drinking time. I might be busy.
And I will say we found out that a lot of youngins can't really convert the time zone. So 5 Central, you know who you are. 5 Central.
Or for Mountain or 3 Pacific.
There we go. Yes,
We got them all covered. Yep.
I'm just old. Or that is also, I think, what is it, midnight in Western Europe? Or is it 11 p.m.?
No Greenwich Mean Time, please. No.
Or
I'm
no,
not
sorry.
gotta go
I
off
think it's
Central
10
Time.
p.m. in Western Europe, but that's beside the point. All right, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, man. Yeah.
Our pleasure.
You're welcome
It's very
for
nice to meet
having
you.
us on your show at the same time. Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
That's how this works.
Frozen Havoc,
Hopefully,
thank you both.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. It was a pleasure.
Good luck this weekend,
Yes.
guys.
Since Dig is out of playoffs, I think, hopefully we will get a chance to reunite in a couple weeks.
Well,
since
hey,
Dig
that would
is-
mean you're in the losers bracket, so careful what you wish for.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Good vibes going, except at 6, 5, 4, or 3 p.m. on Saturday. But,
We'll
other
see
than
you
that,
guys
it's all
in the
good vibes.
finals. Yeah.
See you at the
I'll take
finals. May the best man win.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Yep, thank you.